Well, as always, a very good morning, good evening, good afternoon to you, wherever you might be in the world. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to Lorena's Labyrinth. I'm Anna. If you're not familiar, if this is your first time visiting, I hope you'll find the content useful. If you're a returning visitor, of course, thank you very much for your ongoing participation. Please feel free to leave a comment and say g'day to me in the, under the description bit or whatever, you know what I mean. Anyway, what I was going to say, beyond the fact, thank you very much for being part of my journey, is just a reminder to the returning visitors, they'll already know, to the newbies, be aware that I can go down a tangent, I can go down that rabbit warren. So for those purposes, I put timing chapters in the description so you can just jump to the areas that you're interested in and you don't get stuck listening to my waffle if I go on a waffle. Now, we're going to be talking about blue apatite today. And before I start, though, I do want to invite you to speak about your experiences if you've used it, because I'm about to use it. I've got some here, but I actually haven't worked with it, but I'm about to. And I just realised that my little dog might play up. He's just found his toy. Let's hope that he stays quiet for the rest of it. But anyway, onwards and upwards, let's get into the content for today and try and make it a short video for you. So just a bit of acknowledgement here, first of all, which is the fact that I actually pinched this photograph from the Crystal Council website because, frankly, I actually don't have any spheres of blue apatite. What I've got is some tumbles and some palm stones. Very lovely stuff. And I must say that mine is kind of like the colours. It's pretty well what you're seeing here on the screen as far as the appearance goes. I haven't got any personal experience, so fair warning, I don't have personal experience of using blue apatite yet. This is why it's on my agenda. I am going to, I've been clearing and charging a piece for me to put into a necklace and wear. And so I intend to do that later on today. And if I've got anything to add about my experiences, you can pick it up on the yarning this Sunday. I'll let you know if I've noticed or observed any developments for me, because it looks like a very powerful stone, as you're going to see, and certainly one that I would be interested in using. It might actually help me to make my videos shorter, who knows? Anyway, next slide. So as far as the Zodiac and Astro connections go, it's recommended for those people who have been born under a sun sign of the Gemini, the Pisces or the Capricorn. Now, always I remind people that I don't get hung up about these factors. I am a big believer in, if you feel drawn to a crystal, it doesn't matter what your sun sign is, that is the one for you. But please know the difference, or learn the difference between what is being drawn to a crystal and what is actually wanting a crystal simply because it looks pretty. And, that's pretty hard for people like me. I like all of them. But anyway, if you're able to get into a shop, that's the best way to establish if you're drawn to it, because you actually feel the pull in your hand. Prime example, actually, of what I mean by that is when I was trying to select some blue apatite for me, I actually was doing the transcript and then I went and looked at my blue apatite and I thought, well, I've got a couple of really lovely palm stones here. So I started holding both of them and I actually wasn't feeling drawn to any of them. And by that, I mean, I wasn't feeling energy. And to be quite honest, I really wasn't feeling a lot of energy with the tumbles either. But that's probably because I'm working with other crystals at the moment. But either way, there was one particular tumble that I've pulled up and I've put on the charge plate, as I said, getting ready to use. And I'm not one of these star signs, just so that you know. So from a metaphysical overview perspective, it is considered to be a stone of manifestation, but in practical ways. Okay, so it is believed to support a person as far as preparation and planning for the future goes. So that's about goal setting, but not in the way where you're so far off in the future that you're not actually doing anything about it in the present. It's supposed to support a person to remain present, deal with the day-to-day stuff, while also planning and preparing for the future. And it's believed to promote success in all business and humanitarian endeavours by enhancing communication and psychic gifts. It is also believed to promote access to the higher knowledge and the higher realms. And obviously the knowledge comes through the higher entity beings, shall we say, the guides, the celestial, just high vibrational beings. So when we talk about apatite, it does come in a range of colours, not just blue. And apparently apatite is basically a field term for an unidentified calcium phosphate, whatever the heck that means. I'm no geologist. I should point that out just in case you're new to the channel and you're not aware. I am not a geologist. I'm not qualified in any rock fields or anything like that. What I am is an appreciator of rocks and crystals. And so because I've spent time around them, I have developed, I suppose, a little bit of layman knowledge, but I'm certainly no expert. And when it comes to things like being told it's calcium phosphate, that just does my head in. Anyway, as far as mineral hardness goes, it's a 5, so it's not super hard. It's still soft. It's still able to be scratched. As far as transparency goes, it can be, and I've got some photos of it, it can actually be translucent. And what else have I got? It has a range of blues, if you like. It's got light, bright or dark blue and an indigo colour. And this is one of the reasons why I've put this image up here, although the fact that it is actually in the rough, what we call in the rough, it's uncut and unpolished. It's a totally different shade to the image on the first screen from Crystal Council website. So the other thing that I think is very important to actually remember with this is that it can actually have a certain level of toxicity because it is found apparently, what does my note say, as a sedimentary rock or ore. So it appears often with other sedimentary minerals. Now what that means is it can grow or form with other minerals, I should say. Correct me if I'm wrong, I invite you to. But I think more importantly, it can carry these rare earth minerals, traces and that kind of thing, which may or may not be toxic. So you won't know unless you know where it was sourced from, whether or not it's got any of these toxic traces to it. What I did learn though is that the blue apatite that comes out of Russia, I've put uranium on there, but that's not to scare you, because what I gathered in my research was it has uranium traces or decaying uranium or something like that. Either way, it still is toxic for ingestion. It's fine, I believe, to handle, but you might want to check about that. It's going to be fine to handle if it's polished. Maybe not going to be fine for people that are cutting it and doing the polishing, but certainly I would be exploring it if I was in those jobs. Now, it is sourced in a variety of areas. As I mentioned, Russia, Brazil's another place, Burma, Madagascar, Mexico, India, and North America are apparently all areas. I'm pretty sure that I saw there's other places you can get it as well. Either way, apparently Russia has got the largest deposits in the world. And when I am checking my notes here, it's all just really technical, I must say. It talks about the fact that some of it's died, but we'll talk about that in a moment. So I don't know that I would go as far as saying that blue apatite is dyed. I mean, there probably is occasions when it's colour enhanced, so I guess that is dying. But at the end of the day, you can still get it in these range of colours. What I've done here is I've put a couple of photographs, well, quite a few actually on this page, to show you that it can actually form in different ways. And when we know, for example, I'd never known that you could get it as a gem quality crystal, which is transparent or translucent, like we see here, until I was actually doing this video. But what I have learned is that apparently these gem quality ones are really very rare. And so obviously when you're looking at something that's very rare, then it actually can be quite costly. The other thing is too that when we're looking to buy product, if we've got an idea of where it's been sourced, then it's going to help us determine whether or not it's been enhanced, shall we say. So this is why for some of them I've put on here, you've got the left-hand side. These are all genuine ones taken from verifiable sources. The one from Namibia, that has apparently got a bit of transparency to it, but it looks, you can see when you look at these, they look completely different to the heart-shaped one and the egg-shaped one. Whole different material. And then the other ones, I think all of them actually come out of Brazil, these other ones. That one, the Apatite on Elbite from Brazil, is just absolutely stunning. So when it comes to buying the gem quality apatite, though, what I did find was that, yes, of course, these are all apparently genuine apatite. And I got this from, have I written the name of the website? Gosh, gee, I haven't. Either way, there was a source that is dedicated to basically educating and informing people. And I think it was a GEM website. And I do apologise. I'll see if I can find the reference for this before I actually upload it, and I'll type it on the screen. But anyway, these are all GEM quality. And what the information basically said is if you're going to buy gem quality amber, it should all have chatoyancy to it, which this is known as the cat's eye effect, really. So if you were, if somebody was trying to sell you this and it didn't have that cat's eye effect, then you know you're getting a fake. I just want to check my notes a little more, just making sure I'm correct. Okay, what it says is that the best way to buy the gem quality apatite, regardless of the colour, is actually in the cabochon shape. And I think you'll find that that is the dark green and the yellow apatite images here, because apparently they display the cat's eye effect much better than the other shapes that it's been cut into. So that's just a little tip there for you. So I'm going to run through this and try and be quick, because obviously it's got a lot of spiritual manifestation, spiritual metaphysical attributes, and they're quite high powered. Okay, so obviously the first thing is that it's said to open and activate the psychic gifts, especially the gifts of clairvoyance or vision, if you like, which obviously is part of being able to channel and do mediumship. It's also known and reported by many people to assist, and I touched on this before, with being able to stay present, but at the same time take glimpses into the future and make predictions. Okay, so that's part of the role, I guess, of the psychic. So for people, just to be clear, if you're drawn to blue apatite or a crystal that does open and activate the psychic gifts, if that's not something that you want to do, because some people are frightened of it, they actually don't want to go that pathway, you can still use a crystal without actually opening up those gifts. You basically just, as part of the intention when you're working with it, you're working with it for the other benefits, if you like. You outline what properties you want to use it for. So either way it is, I don't think you would do that with blue apatite, I must be honest, because these are the primary attributes of blue apatite. Okay, it's believed to attune the person to the higher realms, so that they can access this guidance and wisdom and bring it down. Certainly it's going to enhance the intuition. That was what I was going to say. If you're not into the idea of developing your clairs, the intuition, you can strengthen that, your gut instinct and your inner knowing, by working with blue apatite. But anyway, there's also the ability, or it promotes the ability to consciously astral travel, or project your auric field, if you like, your auric body, in a way where it's directed and controlled. Other things such as remote viewing, it would enhance that. It's also said to support a person to be able to access and I always get stuck pronouncing this, Akashic record, I believe, which is where the keys to the past life patterns and the future karmic patterns are being held. Which, because the future can always change based on what's happening in the present, but you can get an idea of what's going on right now by going in and accessing these. And this is why it would be believed to support a person to be able to do predictions, because they're able to go into these spaces and places, get the information, bring it back and convey it. Now, the other thing to mention too is it's believed, or what I saw was, a lot of the messages and the wisdoms actually comes through, or the messages from the higher beings comes through in the dream state for a person. So it's also believed to promote lucid dreaming. Now, dreaming, of course, is not the only way that you can connect with your guides and your guardians and the light beings, if you like. You can actually do it in a meditative state. If you do decide that you want to get your messages in your sleep state through your dreams, then you would just pop some under your pillow. And it's allegedly will support the strength and the frequency of the dreams that you have. It's said to promote and expand spiritual awareness and the capacity to be able to see this harmony of mind, body, and spirit. Now, I'm not doing justice to this terminology. This is the type of awareness where you can see chaos and you just go, there is a rhythm in the chaos. There's something going on here. I might not be able to see it all, but the meanings will become clear later on down the track. So it is an understanding that everything is in divine order if it's not in perfect your order or my order. If things aren't exactly as we would like them to be, there is a divine order happening to everything. It's also believed to awaken creativity through awakening passion, that's actually the orange chakra. And it's said to support and promote a really deep inner reflection, as part of developing self-awareness, recognizing and knowing how you respond in any situation, then being able to plan the next stages of your physical existence. So this is where it becomes very practical. It's about getting this spiritual information and applying it in your day-to-day living. So it's said also to stimulate the intellect to pursue this practical wisdom and to be able to use it for the benefit of the planet and other people on it. I've moved things around for this video. Normally I talk about the physical qualities before I go into the emotional, but for this video I've actually decided to do the emotional and power of the mind attributes before going into that. So anyway, this is because it's said to enhance personal expression and communication, and it is recommended for people such as artists, musicians, writers, even public speakers and orators. It's believed to calm a person's fears and phobias, especially those that are the irrational and illogical ones, those that aren't founded in reality. So it's very good for people that suffer from anxiety. It's supposed to reduce the symptoms of sorrow and grief, and if you are consumed by these emotional reactions and outbursts, such as angry outbursts or irritability, it's said to be able to calm those. And for people that have become emotionally depleted and exhausted, it's said to energize them. So that's a little bit more vitality. A person's verbal expression is enhanced. This is probably why I'm looking to use it. Which means, of course, there's going to always, actually, to put this into perspective, when we talk about enhancing the throat chakra, this is the recognition that things happen and annoy us, and they always will be, okay? But rather than squashing those feelings down and denying them and ignoring them, we recognize that actually through open, honest, peaceful communication, most conflicts can be resolved. And so it promotes and supports and enhances, I guess, conflict resolution through the communication of being able to express those feelings in a way where we don't judge other people and we don't blame them. We don't turn around and say to them, you know what, I only got angry because you did X, Y, and Z and it just really upsets me. It's about saying, I feel really upset when you do whatever. Now, just a little catchphrase on this. When if we say when you do that, it does sound blaming, but we've got to be able to own that as our emotional response, which is you wouldn't just leave it as I feel X when you do Y. It would be when you do X, but you wouldn't put it that way. So I've got to be clear. I'm drawing on my social work skills here. Okay, so an example might be okay, I wanted to talk to you. I feel very upset. I've been the one putting the rubbish bin out for the last however many months and you never do it. And I feel that I'm being taken advantage. I know that's not rational. I know it's not logical, but that's the way I feel. I wonder, could you please perhaps every now and again put the rubbish bin out? Just something like that, okay? That is very petty, but I like to use simple scenarios. So yeah, you're not blaming somebody. You're just saying, hey, this is my needs. Could you help out, please? And I also realize that perhaps, I might be a little over the top. And if you approach it from a different angle, they might actually turn around and tell you that you are. So I deviated for a moment. I went down that rabbit warren, but I'm back now. So anyway, it's also recommended for people that suffer from social anxiety because it's supposed to inspire confidence in themselves and support them to move around and shift within social settings with a level of comfort and ease. It's believed to motivate a person. It's believed to inspire hope and a positive outlook, which obviously raises the spirits. We talked about self-confidence. It apparently encourages independence, and if a person's doing study and struggling to concentrate and focus on their tasks, it's supposed to help with that. It's also said to support good time management as part of this planning stuff. So that works for managers of businesses, but also for students and lecturers, because scheduling and time scheduling is very important. Especially to have successful outcomes. It's also supposed to help a person to feel more liberated and free. And we already talked about the fact that it enhances spiritual knowledge and awareness. So before we talk about the I'm struggling with my words today. Before we talk about the physical, metaphysical benefits, I just want to recap some of those emotional mind power aspects of blue apatite, because they're supposed to be quite profound as far as how they influence the physical existence. Because, of course, when we've got a clearer mind and when we've got a level of mastery over our emotional responses, then we're going to have better health, okay? And it's also going to have those positive impacts on the physical existence. You know as well as I do that if somebody's emotionally reactive, aggressive, whatever, has got poor time management, they are never going to be a really good business person. I can't think of any field where they will actually become financially successful. So the idea is that a person gets a handle and a grip on these things through using the blue apatite, and that is going to influence their financial situation. So this is really important. It is recommended for business managers and consultants of all professions because it helps them to adhere to the plan that they have established and the schedule. And if they are in a current job where there is an imbalance of that healthy time management, you know, the workplace sleep stuff, then it's believed to support a person to find new employment, one where it does have that healthy balance. So it is considered to be a stone of ambition, success, and independence, and that includes financial independence. Now, onto the physical. Right. So, so basically, the most notable aspect or attribute of blue apatite is actually almost a namesake. It's said to be for weight loss or for treating obesity because it's believed that it can act as an appetite suppressant. I did note, and I have a few concerns about this, that to work as an appetite suppressant, they recommend that you take it as an elixir. Well, I'm sorry, after reading that it can have rare trace minerals and even uranium, I would discourage anybody from doing that. So the alternative is that you would wear it as a pendant or something like that, because obviously it's not hard, so you wouldn't have it as a bracelet, probably a pendant, or in a wallet, or tuck it in your bra might be another suggestion. It's also good for bones, teeth, and cartilage, apparently. It's recommended for people as a treatment if they've got rickets, joint problems, arthritis, or even poor motor skills. It's said to support the formation of new cells and the way the body absorbs calcium. It's beneficial, apparently, not only for the weight loss as far as as far as suppressing the appetite goes, it's also said to speed up the metabolism. So it would actually be recommended for people that have got an underactive thyroid or one that's a bit sluggish. Now, of course, I forgot to do the disclaimer here. Just a reminder that while crystals can be attributed to support health, they're not a replacement for your medication or whatever, and you would not stop doing your current medical advice or seeing your current practitioner to use crystals. What you can do is use your crystals in conjunction with your current treatment plan and then see what happens. Have an open mind. Anyway, it's supposed to support the health of all the glands and organs, and it's believed to reduce high blood pressure. If somebody is suffering from eye strain, it's supposed to help with that. And if a person suffers from headaches, vertigo, and dizziness, it's supposed to help relieve those health issues as well. So basically, with blue apatite, it is associated with the throat and the brow chakras because they're obviously very important when it comes to developing your psychic gifts. But I would be inclined to say it's primarily associated with the throat chakra, and this is because the throat chakra is believed to be the seat of the soul. And if somebody has got a blocked throat chakra, from a mediumship perspective, which this is the channeling of messages, they're going to really struggle, or they might have to work pretty hard to get that information through. Anyway, I do believe it would work very, very well with any crystal that is associated with the solar plexus or the sacral chakra, especially for those people that have got embedded grief and depression. I would encourage them to wear both blue apatite and some orange carnelian at the same time, or even some golden healer, okay, because I love golden healer anyway. Because generally, when a person is suffering from depressive type conditions, it is actually an imbalance. The blue and the orange chakras tend to be not working so well together. So by using the blue apatite with one of the orange ones, carnelian being a very good one, it will, I would say, I can't say it will definitely, I would say there's a good chance that you might be able to overcome your depression, which of course you would stay with your doctor's treatment. You wouldn't come off your medication immediately, but you might find that you need less of it, or you might, anyway, I'm not going to go down that track. That's a conversation you can have with the doctor. Anyway, many people think that to access the higher realms, it's only through the brow chakra, and this is because they have this idea that if you've got clairvoyance and you can see, that's what it's all about. But that's not the case, okay? That is just one aspect of being a psychic. That business of being able to connect and communicate with the guides actually comes through the throat chakra. So just to be clarifying that. Now, interesting, I want to make the point here that if you do suffer from headaches and dizziness and even a bit of vertigo, you might want to revisit just how hard you're pushing and trying to connect with the guides, because if the chakras go out of whack, if you're neglecting to ground yourself, then there's every chance that you might start to feel that lightheaded aspect. I would recommend that if you're going to work with blue apatite, that you continue to do your grounding on a regular basis. So do whatever it is that you're trying to do or achieve, and then go and ground yourself so that you're not going off with the fairies and you're not getting too dizzy. If you've got questions, ask, I'll answer you. Just my experience anyway. So you could certainly wear your blue apatite on your body, on your person, in a wallet or whatever. You could wear it as jewelry. I mean, I've put this photo in of this absolutely stunning bracelet here, but I have to admit, if I had a bracelet like that, I would probably be banging on everything, because I tend to be a bit rough on bracelets, and I don't think my apatite would be able to withstand it. And I'm one of those people that I'll put a bracelet on and think, I must take this off if I get busy, or if I've got to do some heavy work or something like that. And then something will come up, I'll get a task, and I'll look at that and I'll look at my bracelet and I'll think, I'll just do it really carefully. And then I always end up breaking them. So I don't think I would buy a bracelet like this, but I would probably buy it as a pendant and probably use it as that tumble stone, and wear it as a necklace. You could obviously use it for gridding. Definitely you could use your palm stones for meditation or holding. If you're lucky to have one of those nice spheres or any carvings, then absolutely they would make wonderful crystals to have in your environment, I would say. And just a reminder here, because I know people might jump from one slide to the next, absolutely not suitable for elixirs where the crystal is immersed in the water and you drink the water afterwards. I know there are other ways of doing elixirs where that is you put the crystal into a beaker and then a glass one, and then you put that into the bowl of water, and then I think you've got to leave it sit there for an hour or 24 hours or something like that, and it's believed to energize the water so that you've got an elixir, but it's kind of a no contact elixir. They would be okay as long as you don't get, as long as you're not drinking the water that the bead has been in. It might be different if it's polished. I don't know. Feel free to make a comment, but to be honest, I just find that a huge deterrent. Anyway, yeah, look, I'll wait for your suggestions to see what you've got to say about how you could use it. So as a messenger, I kind of feel that the blue of the apatite is just so intense that despite all these properties that I've listed, of the attributes that other people have told me about, which I'm now sharing with you, my feelings run more to the fact that I believe the message of blue apatite is it's safe to express who you are and to encourage you to speak your truth with love and kindness and compassion, to develop that in-depth understanding of who you are, okay? Because you are so much more than your physical body, and that when you connect to the powers, it is possible. You might think it's not possible today, but it is possible to live a life of peace and love and calm, and to be successful and to have abundance and to be financially secure, right? So I see it as being a stone that encourages you to work on yourself, to do that deep reflection that I talked about, to decide what it is that you hope to achieve, on all levels, not just on your physical existence. So let's say that you decide that you want to do a business pursuit. So it's okay, that's one goal. Okay, so I'm going to achieve this financial goal. I'm going to plan towards it. But we have the spiritual goals as well. What's your next step? Do you want to develop a particular trait? We're all in this ongoing cycle of development, and I was reminded of this through an email contact that I got 2 days ago. And so what I tried to do was stretch myself and do another psychic activity, shall we say, which actually involved remote viewing and astral traveling, astral projection. I thought, I haven't done it for a while. I actually want to get back into it. It sounds way out there to be sharing in this video. But yes, anyway, I want to enhance those and just improve my skill base, shall we say. So that's a spiritual goal, I guess. Another thing is the physical goals. Well, I don't want to talk to you about my physical goals because they're mainly things that I'm not proud of. I say things that I could certainly improve on. So anyway, yes, I do have some goals there. So you make the goals across all levels. And I guess it's just a reminder too that if communication becomes compromised, because you're stressed and you're angry and all the rest of it, then to get a handle on your emotions, okay? And you can do this through a meditative state. You can meditate on the problems. You can ask for solutions. Everything is within our power. We just have to make a choice and then work with it. So when it comes to attuning and charging your video, I'm going to let you go and have a look at the ones that I've put up rather than me rehashing it. Otherwise, do make a suggestion. Other people will see it. I'm just going to talk about the mainstream caring for blue apatite, which is, obviously be mindful that you don't scratch it because it's not super hard. It's moderately soft. And the recommendation is that you do not use ultrasonic cleaners. The crystals that I've got, they're polished, so I do think that they would cope fairly well with being rinsed under the tap if need be, and I won't have a problem putting them out and exposing them to the rain or to the full moon if I was going to do a charge that way. But I do believe, or what I saw is that even if polished, blue apatite will fade with exposure to direct sunlight over a prolonged period, and especially if it has been heat treated or color enhanced. Now, I'm talking about the crystals. Well, my crystals, I don't think have been color enhanced, so I think that should be okay. I'd be a little concerned if I was buying a gem one though and it wasn't authentic. But the thing is, if you've bought it, you should have had a look at it to see if it's got that chatoyancy. But either way, they can lose their color as well. I had some plans. I'm glad I was doing this this video before I actually went and acted on this plan. I was going to put some LED lights, have a display, and put my blue apatite on there, but apparently that can fade it as well. The light's got to be very muted and not a UV type from what I saw. But if you've had some or got some, please let us know. The storage recommendations are for blue apatite so that you keep the colour bright. Obviously, is don't put it out in sunlight. But basically storing it in a soft pouch, that seems to be a fallback option, and put it away in a box and all of that kind of thing. Now, I've got to be honest, I haven't done that. I haven't done any of it. Mine seems to be okay, but the area where they sit, it's not exposed to full heat, the Australian heat, and it's got muted light anyway. But I'm almost embarrassed to say this. I haven't even put them in a silk lined box or anything like that. They're actually all just sitting in a wooden box. So technically speaking, they're vulnerable to being scratched. I will just have to be very, very careful with them. But anyway, okay, look, I'm not sure how some of these bigger rough pieces might cope with water immersion if you're doing clearing and cleansing and that kind of stuff. But I think rule of thumb is avoid exposing them to any form of chemicals, especially if you've got jewellery. Remember that ladies, when you wear makeup and you put things on your face, and gentlemen, or ladies and gentlemen, if you use aftershave, that's a chemical as well. So they may actually change the way the crystal looks. It may actually impact on the colour, or it might impact on the actual shape, especially if it's got cracks and inclusions on it. Anyway, onwards and upwards. I say onwards and upwards, but basically it's not a case of onwards and upwards. It's a case of the video's coming to a close, and the bottom line is I'm actually a bit fatigued, so I don't know how you are today. When I say I'm a bit fatigued, it's because I've actually been doing a lot of work, not only on trying to get the video content up for the channel here, but I've also been revisiting my website, and which is sadly neglected. That's a story. I'll talk about it perhaps on the yarning. Basically, I created it and I left it sit there, and I didn't add all my content and that kind of thing. So I've decided it's been up there for about 3 years and not particularly helpful. So it's time for me to actually get that sorted out. So I've been doing a lot of work on that, and I think I am now a bit weary, and that is probably why my communication is being impacted, and probably why I need to be wearing the blue apatite. So that's on the radar for me right now. I'll let you know how it goes. In the meantime, thank you for being part of my journey. Take care of yourselves. Have a blessed day, blessed week. Catch you on the next video. Bye-bye for now.